Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us live today. I am extremely thrilled to be hosting IT Nation Pitch It, where we actually get to speak with all the various contestants and really see some innovative technology in the marketplace that's happening right now over the past couple years. And I actually get to have the honor of doing it with my buddy over at ConnectWise, Sean Lardo. I'm actually going to bring him on right now. There you go, Sean. How you doing?
Howdy. I'm doing great. How you, Adam?
Doing fantastic. If you guys are joining us live, if you don't mind dropping a comment below and hitting like and letting us know that you're here and where are you viewing from. So that'd be awesome. So we have this IT Nation Pitch It thing we're doing over the next month or so. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Sure. At the core, PitchIT is really about finding vendors that are innovative incubator type companies that are very much complementary to the ConnectWise economy. The whole community itself benefits if we can collaborate together. The core focus of all of it is to actually get people that are really going to be able to work well with ConnectWise, but also more importantly, support the partners. It falls in line with everything we believe in it to get them rolling. But the competition is like a Shark Tank competition in the end. We selected we had a lot we had a record breaking year for applications for vendors that wanted to do this, of course. But when it came down to it, we only selected 18 of them. I shouldn't say only, that's a lot. We selected 18 companies to move forward and starting to sit in our new program, which is a completely re-overhaul from the previous years, where we started up an incubator accelerator program for them to start working with coaches and judges and whatnot.
Nice. Thanks, Sean. And I even forgot to introduce myself. I'm so excited to get started. So I am founder and CEO of Sierra Pacific Group, and Sean here from ConnectWise. He is the ConnectWise economy evangelist. So he gets to actually play around and work with vendors and then everybody in the channel and the community. It's really exciting. If you see him at a show, stop by, say hi. He most likely has a bourbon or whiskey in his hand, right? And the cigar. So
Unless it's the morning, then it's coffee and a water. But yes, no, absolutely. Anybody that's around, please, they definitely need to stop at any one of the events. As a matter of fact, we have an event coming up next week. I'll be at IT Nation Secure. So anybody that is going, if they're not going, feel free to reach out if they're trying to still get passes. Granted, I can't give you free ones because I'm not that cool, but we have cool people that might be able to help you and get you there. So it starts on Monday. It's in Orlando. And if you're up north and in the cool weather, Orlando's great this time of year. Just want to point that out.
Sweet. And one thing that I know that was spoke last year at IT Nation Connect was kind of the three really core topics that Jason McGee was kind of talking about, CEO of ConnectWise. I think that plays really, really huge with the Pitch It. So you want to talk about those things?
Sure. As one of the things that even what Pitch It is involved in too is part of these three promises. But the reality is we had to make an adjustment and address the fact that we're here for three major reasons to get moving forward and to shore up, which is easier to do business with, even more invested in partner growth and more innovation faster. Now, when again, I look at what we're here to talk about today, because I don't want to go too off topic of today, but we've launched a series of different types of initiatives to help the customers or the partners rather. And we've always been a product company since the very beginning. ConnectWise is a product company with the PSA, the RMM, and whatnot. But it also lent itself to what about services and offerings and helping to coach. So, for those people that aren't part or ever heard of like Evolve, for instance, Evolve is a very big program, a peer group, which actually Adam, you and I were in Dallas a few weeks ago for it, where it's a peer group of MSPs, and they work as a team. You meet new MSPs, they're all in a room and they work as an actual peer group or a board of advisors amongst each other. So they came out with, the teams, the powers that be, Arlen Sorensen and Scott Scroggin came up with the modes theory concept, which is fantastic. So those of you that are trying to figure out where you are as a business, or as a person, as an owner or whatever, the modes assessment is phenomenal for it. It establishes what kind of builder you are. It helps you to start making decisions through the lens of what your mode is really, between a startup to a value builder to a balance builder, whatever it may be, so you can make educated decisions. As a matter of fact, all of our contestants have taken this now to understand more so what we're teaching to MSPs. So back full circle to the three promises, we're talking about innovations, which is a very big, simple thing to talk about here, is that this whole concept around this for PitchIT is exactly more innovation and faster. We are these vendors, you'll see as we go through the process, which I'm super stoked about, you'll see what they're made of. Like when we went through the process of selecting these vendors, we tried to make sure we're as diversified as we could be with the approach and their offering. And we looked at, did they have the fundamental pieces in place to be an effective vendor and be an effective partner amongst the stack, because every MSP is looking for a stack alignment.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Absolutely. So, and I love the modes, because then modes also helps us when we have prospective clients come to us, identify, hey, what type of business are they? Where do they want to be? And kind of what it's going to take to get to that different mode of operations, right?
Absolutely.
Huge, really, really huge. But we are here for one thing. And I really want to introduce um, John Harden of Saaslio, if I said that right. John, how you doing?
I'm good, Adam. You got it. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
I love you start with the thumbs up. He's like,
2 thumbs up for you, Sean.
thank you, John. I appreciate that. You're a great man.
Oh man.
Awesome. And so, John, I don't even have a clue who you are. I don't even know what your company does. Can you give me a background on yourself? Where'd you come from? Where are you located?
Yeah, Adam, appreciate you having me on here today. And Sean, appreciate a lot of what you said there. We're excited to be part of the PitchIT program. But, a little bit about myself, John Harden, founder here at Saaslio. A lifetime MSP member. I always like to say I spent half of my life in the MSP. Started as a 15-year-old in the industry and have been there for 15 years. But we're based here in Indianapolis, Indiana, which if you have been watching any races over the weekend, based here out of Indianapolis, Indy, was the Indianapolis 500. So that was kind of an exciting thing, trying to get my base sun. Sean, you mentioned it's a little sunnier down in Orlando, trying to get a little base sun before the IT Nation Secure next week. But yeah, based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm thrilled to be here, Adam.
Awesome. Yeah. So let me actually,
By the way, Adam is in California, so he probably gets really
Yeah.
good weather. He's not like us in the north, the northern area. So yeah, I was out in the sun this weekend as well to try to get some sun as well. Like get ready for Orlando. Just saying.
So I'm actually, John, do you mind telling me what is Saaslio all about? Like what's behind the Saaslio, the software?
Yeah, Saaslio. Yeah, happy to, Adam. So Saaslio is a passion of mine, obviously. As a founder, it has to be a passion of mine. I don't have a choice. But really where it boiled down to was it was born out of necessity. I came out of the IT MSP industry, started as a tier 1 NOC at 15 years old, started in the tier 1 NOC rather as 15 years old. And across that journey, I continued to see different problems appear and different problems arise. And so one of the problems that irked me the most was the lack of visibility, and particularly the lack of visibility in the SaaS ecosystem. And, Adam, I actually just got done with the conversation just like maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, where we were talking about it. The future of clients is moving 99.9% cases is going to be all cloud, or it's going to be all SaaS, or rather hybrid of that solution package. And it drives me nuts. We manage our customers in all the different ways that we can, yet we have this big visibility gap on what they're using from software as a service. And it's the fastest growing line item budget that they have. It's the fastest growing amount of technology that they're using. Yet as MSPs, we struggle to be able to identify it or see it or have visibility or know a roadmap or security around it. So Saaslio was built to bridge a lot of the pain that I just talked about. It was built to help MSPs know what SaaS their customers are using, know the security gaps that exist in that SaaS, provide them a roadmap towards resolution for those security concerns, and help them level up their offering by talking about SaaS. And so that's really high level, but it's really the core of what Saaslio was built for.
Yeah, so let me just interpret this just from layman's, because I'm not an engineer, but my understanding is, so your software just is an asset. like maybe do a discovery on the network and figure out what SaaS software the clients of MSPs have. Is that a fair assessment? And then
Yeah.
basically figure out how to manage those applications through your tool.
Yeah, Adam, you nailed it, right? So we deploy via ConnectWise. Yeah, now we're back to 2 thumbs up. Right at the beginning, we're all full circle.
So I have a question then. Okay, what made you create this?
Oh, I mean, like I said, it was a passion project. So, Sean, what was interesting to me is actually we launched the business 2 years, a couple months ago, 6 days after the COVID pandemic. Everybody went home and nobody wanted to talk. So it was actually a really tough time to start a company, but it was actually the emergence of a massive digital transformation that MSPs have gone through over the last 2.5 years. When I started building Saaslio, nobody wanted to talk about SaaS. And here we are 2 years, flash forward, and people are starting to realize, okay, maybe we need to. But when I launched the business back in March of 2020, Shadow IT there was maybe 80 or 90 SaaS apps that a customer was using. And it's a lot. That's a big number for 100 employees. But it went up 40% since COVID. Shadow IT continues to emerge and rear its ugly head. And it continues to become a bigger and bigger problem. And it's one of those things. We did a presentation last week where we had the Price is Right, the Yodel guy going up the line, and the yodeler has fallen off, is what we like to say. It's finally to a point where you have to talk about it. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to own all of it, but you have to know what they've got, because the first step every security conversation is visibility. And from there, we'll help you get all the way across the journey to managing it.
For sure. So, when I think of software, I think of, going to solve a problem which you had. So, John, were you in an MSP business, operating an MSP business, and then we're like, oh, you had this idea, let me launch this software to kind of fix and solve this problem? Is that kind of where it came about? Can you describe a little bit kind of that process where you came up with this idea?
Yeah, the origin story really was directly in the MSP that I came from. So we continued, one big feature and product that we released at the end of our MSP was, it was a unified communications component. It's kind of a weird story, but we released this big workflow component, and we wanted to talk to our customers about what they used and what they were driving their business with. But we realized the only information we had around that was a checklist that was out of date. Maybe we collected it when we onboarded them, or we found out about how they used it when people opened a ticket and said, "Hey, I no longer have access to this," and everybody in the tier one kind of messaged each other and goes, "Did you guys even know they had this?" That's usually the second way of collecting SaaS. And I realized if the numbers are going up this drastically, and we don't know, how many other MSPs don't know? And so really it kind of started as an experiment and a theory. And as we started to get a few blue chip and cornerstone MSPs that we started to work with, we quickly realized this isn't a theory. This isn't an assumption. It's as bad, if not now, we've started to discover a little bit worse than we thought when we launched the business. It's actually pretty impervious. Every client we've seen has had some level of shadow IT with critical risk to the organization, whether that's file sharing tools with business data that could be exposed, whether that's internal team members sharing accounts in these SaaS tools, whether it's wasted money. It really is multifaceted because it's gone unmanaged for so long. So it started as a theory. It's now evolved into a passion. I almost feel obligated to solve this problem, which helps me feel energized every day working on it. And so that's where it was born of. Yeah, out of the MSP we came from.
Nice. So coming from that MSP, and I know the various tools out there, and I'll speak to ConnectWise Automate. Now, it does have an asset inventory tracker. What makes your software different than that, right? Like what unique aspect do you bring to the table that Automate, for instance?
Let me go a little bit deeper. So where does ConnectWise end and where do you begin?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of people feel confident or comfortable with Automate as their holistic SaaS management. And or software management. And to be fair, right, ConnectWise Automate plays an amazing role in managing what's on the computer. It's a fantastic solution for managing the endpoint software. But that's not where we spend our time today. Across all the tens of thousands of users that we've surveyed and seen in our platform, there's number one tool is always the browser, only sometimes secondary to Outlook, sometimes secondarily to Outlook for those people that spend a lot of time in emails. But software asset management doesn't stop with what's installed on my computer. We're sitting here and doing a stream using a SaaS tool to achieve that. To have gotten connected, we used Calendly SaaS tools to get our time coordinated. We use SaaS tools in every living moment of our day, yet we don't have a holistic pane of glass around it. And so we deploy via Automate, and we collect the data and bring it to light. So it's a fantastic one-on-one synergy. I mean, we integrate and take that data and help MSPs understand why it's important. And I think for a lot of them, it's a realization that maybe they don't have that full software asset management under control.
That's great.
Excellent.
So with that, then how do you work with partners best? What's the best way for you to work in conjunction with ConnectWise, you and partners?
Yeah, it's very synergistic. We work together really well, right? I love hearing actually when I talk to an MSP at the other end that they're using ConnectWise. Because ConnectWise in my mind, and the reason we're so excited to be part of PitchIT, has a base of MSPs that really care about sophistication and the technology they use. They care about their stack, they care about their alignment, and for us, that's a really positive sign when I hear ConnectWise. And really, it takes less than 15 minutes to set up in ConnectWise, which is probably my favorite second part. It's super easy. So deploying is less than 15 minutes to configure. It's less than 5-10 minutes to start getting dashboards. And from there, we integrate and send automation tickets and subscriptions and alerts and workflows out to manage, which is obviously a second component of our integration. But it's an ecosystem we thrive in. It's where I would say the majority of our partners exist. And if we could just say, hey, if you use ConnectWise all the time, it makes it great for us because that's where we really put a lot of legwork into. It's the MSP I came from was a big ConnectWise shop. So we're excited to be part of this synergy in this ecosystem.
Awesome. And so how does the integration work with ConnectWise Manage, or is it Automate or Manage only? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, Automate is a 7-step guide for deployment. So we're not directly integrated into Automate when it comes to the integration story. We're not pulling API data out of it, but it's a seven-step guide. It takes less than 15 minutes to deploy. Now with Manage, we are integrated into the PSA using the open API that Manage has available at its resources list. We've integrated the ability to open up real-time alerts into your ConnectWise Manage. So think, all those SaaS applications that you didn't know were going on, think about alerts around them. So real-time tickets for when a SaaS application that your customer is using was part of a data breach. I bet you didn't know MailChimp had a data breach 4 weeks ago, let alone maybe did you know your customer used it? Or maybe the admin credential just got shared on the team over at your client's base. And so you have 3 people now sharing it. Let's open a ticket on that. That's a problem. So with ConnectWise Manage, it's much more alerting and informing of high-risk security events, whereas Automate is certainly for the deployment component.
Awesome. And if you happen to just be joining us live, we are here interviewing John Harden from Saaslio, and we have Sean Lardo, the ConnectWise evangelist. It's getting I'm getting used to saying that.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, for sure. Just wanted a little shout out to the live community if you just happen to be joining us. So, excellent.
So let's go back to this again because I think it's important. One thing that you came from the MSP space. What do you look for when you're an MSP talking to vendors? What's the first questions they ask?
Well, when the MSPs come to the vendor, the first questions they should be asking are, how integrated is it into the existing stack that I have?
Yes.
You can't have a disjointed technology ecosystem. It creates inefficiency, cost inefficiency. It actually also creates some security implications if not thought well. B, you should be asking the security of the vendor. That is an incredibly common conversation point. Really early in the stage, we're hearing more and more, and I'm really happy to hear it. We're a very security cognizant team. And if you're not asking your vendor about their security impact and their security mechanisms, then that's a conversation point you should be having. But I think the kind of nebulous question we love to answer that MSPs will ask us the most is, what does SaaS management even mean? They know the customers have it. They're like, how do I have a story in this? Why do I have a story? They're signing up for it on their own. Where do I start and where do I end? And that's the thing I love talking about the most. That's when we can start to unlock some really interesting conversation.
I would think so. And I would think it probably lends itself again to the business conversation, right? Where do they begin with this? Why are they involved? And I just, again, we're having this conversation off the cuff because I refused to ask you these questions until now. How does an MSP benefit from you guys, from using you all, your tool, your people, everything?
Yeah. You made a point too, Sean. I want to hit it, and I'll answer your second question or your question there correctly. But you made a point that each solution should solve a business problem, right? And Adam made a point earlier. Most SaaS tools are born out of necessity. Yep. So if you take that statement right there, at the heart of every software should be a business problem being solved, right? Let's look at that in the lens of your clients. So you say, how can me as the MSP benefit from having this technology?
Yes.
If every software platform that the customer is adopting should at the heart of it have a business problem being solved, wouldn't you want to know what they're using, and wouldn't you want to be able to talk about that during your quarterly business reviews? Wouldn't you want to know that you have disjointed adoption across multiple tools, leading that client maybe to inefficiency? Or wouldn't you want to know that somebody has gone and self-signed up for a SaaS tool because they said, oh, I have this business problem, and whoever's at the top of Google AdWords convinced them they've got to have it. And the next thing you know, they found the next best thing in their company since sliced bread, but you as the MSP didn't capture it because it wasn't during that onboard journey that you caught them through. Wouldn't it be great if you can know at the core, in a single pane of glass, all the things that your client are using when they're signing up for it, the risks around it? Because then you get to move away from that reactive MSP into that proactive MSP.
Sure.
Don't ask your customers what, ask your customers why, and really unlock a whole different level of support and discussion. And it really changes the game because that's where the CEOs spend their time, the CMOs, you name a C-suite. They're spending their day all day in SaaS too. They'd love to talk about it. So bring it up with them.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know I ask that question all the time of, whenever we're evaluating software tools, it's like, what business problem does it solve? Right. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I will say MSPs and technology business leaders are consumerisms. They'll just sign up for a tool because it's cool. Right. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, I say, hey, sign up for a tool that solves business problems. And, then that will, increase your services by becoming a premium service by adding these layers of software tools. Right. And which would then you can get a premium price for those services. Right. So I know that we do coach that. We consult with that. We do integrations of various different platforms and do implementations of these tool sets and so forth in service departments and sales departments. Right. So yeah, it's fantastic. Sean?
So yeah, I'm gonna drill down further now. So when I'm an MSP and I'm talking to you and I say, hey, what do you do? What's the value add? Granted, I understand now I can check the apps of everybody. That's okay. So now what's the next step? What do I get out of this? How do I and here's all the questions you always hear, right? How do I package this? How do I push this off to the consumer? How do I make sure it's priced in a way that it's not going to outprice myself out of the market, et cetera, et cetera. And the questions go on and on, right? But it's always on that path. So, and also, now I'll wait. You answer that first. I have more coming.
Yeah, I love it, Sean. Keep them peppering, man. I love the good questions. And kind of sounds like I've answered them a time or two, doesn't it?
It does.
Daily. Yeah, we get these a lot. So first off, how do I use it beyond the big pie in the sky vision, right? Of getting deep into the questions. First off, Saaslio does more than just give a single pane of glass. It gives you a roadmap to resolution towards all those issues. The average client that we deploy out to, we're seeing anywhere from 100 to 200, stacked rank security things to consider. Everything from, the rogue adoption to the trial adoption. So we give you a roadmap to work against. And so this isn't something that you deploy once and you're done. Now, onto that point, most softwares either need to, you take time for money or money for time. Saaslio does, proclaim it's going to give you 4 to 6 hours back on an onboard journey at a minimum for each client that you're onboarding, giving 100% of the picture in less time. So less tech time spent onboarding and more time spent evaluating. And then it's a managed IT component. You are getting real-time alerts on the shadow IT. You're getting real-time alerts on the credentials that are being shared across those SaaS ecosystems. You're getting third-party data breach alerts. So before it gets out to the dark web, wouldn't it be great to know that they were part of an exposure the day of? So those things become part of your agreement and bundle. And so we call it advanced software asset management, or if you're an MSP that wants to use the vernacular, shadow IT alerting and SaaS management. And that's our bundled offering. Now, the price is real simple. It's $1 a user a month, and the MSRP down to the customers, which we can't directly serve. We don't have a single legal paperwork to serve, so we're MSP only. Down to the individual customers, it's $3 a user a month. We have a launch package special that we're offering to ConnectWise customers directly during the PitchIT program, which gets your costs down way more effective than just $1. But for $3 a user, you're charging your customer, or $1 a user you're being charged. You get an entire single pane of glass on the softwares, the security incidents, the workflows, the alerts, as well as you're getting access to a community that we just released today. And the VCIO community is something that we are honestly just beyond thrilled about. And we could talk a little bit more onto that later, Sean, if you'd like. But that's a big piece of what we're bringing to the table for the MSPs as well.
Yeah, I would like to get into that. Before that, though, now I'm going to ask, okay, now we talked about price. We talked about how you package to a degree. The question always comes to play is, how much work is this going to take? How much should I expect? What is the level of expectation and investment from my people, my team, to first onboard, implement, adopt, and then after that to actually manage clients through it?
Yep. So onboard and adoption is as simple as it gets. We put an enormous amount of time into it because I remember spending hours upon hours upon hours just trying to get one customer deployed for one tool in the past. So we focused on that, and ConnectWise expert with the right admin privileges can get in and deploy a customer in under 15 minutes. That's our claim. We're sticking to it. If you're a little slower, we'll help you get there. But 30 shouldn't be more than what you have to invest to get started. And we do that with customers during a 30-day trial or during implementation. And then for managing a customer, it's built MSP first. So we actually allow you to build a lot of workflows and alerts at that partner level hub instead of in your individual client view. So configuring a client actually is more incremental than that first time you set up. So deploying your subsequent clients really inherits all those partner level rules, all your application rules, all your QBR questions you want to ask around that SaaS tool. It includes the workflows you've configured. And those kind of things are actually going to indicate how much time you're going to invest with the customer. If you want to just have a baseline evaluation every quarter, that's all you have to do. But if you want to set up workflows and alerts, maybe you don't only want to see critical things. You care about more of the high risk. Maybe you're fine selling a platinum package dealing with medium risk events. All those get subscribed. They're all configured at a partner level view. So subsequent onboards then inherit all your partner MSP rules.
So it sounds like this is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's a two-part value add to this, depending on how somebody uses it. One is it's a way for you to track what's going on, to know what's wrong. Like you mentioned the MailChimp aspect, and then, hey, they're using it. Let's go. You better go dig into this. The other side, you're talking about QBRs also right now in this conversation. So is it also a sales tool then?
Yes.
Because just for you to do a full asset, and you're doing an audit on assets, right? In this case, it's the apps.
Yeah, Sean. We actually use this a lot as a sales wedge for MSPs that want to move their customer from a managed IT to a managed security bucket. You can use Saaslio's assessment. In 30 days, you can see everything, have visibility, have great conversation, or during that onboard journey. But we have an entire session of our training dedicated to VCIO and TAM conversations. If you're a technical account manager or a VCIO, this is part of your quarterly cadence. You get a nice sheet that you can share and talk to your customer about the fact that since we last talked, these 5 or 6 shadow IT applications have started to rear their head, and we're seeing lots of people from different teams leveraging these different things. Do we need to stop that at its tracks? Do we want to block it at a network layer? Do we want to talk to those employees and see what's going on? So the VCIOs and TAMs usually have an incredible conversation around SaaS because it's about business problems.
Fantastic. Now, do you have the ability to sort based off apps? Like, and I'm thinking from the MSP perspective, they want to get their customers to adopt their stack, right? And to keep them as secure as possible or just as operational as possible. So are you aligning this and saying, all right, is there a way to build into this and say, hey, here's what we're giving everybody. This is the MSP talking to customer. So now I can do the check and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, you have 75% of what you need. Here's the other apps that you should have. And these are the ones you need to remove.
Yep. Nailed it on the head, Sean. We have a stack alignment survey. Basically, when you onboard that customer, you get a stack alignment to your stack. But there's an interesting piece there beyond just what aligns into their stack. What we can go and do even further, Sean, is say, okay, MSP, your customers 90% aligned with stack. That's great. Let's get you to 100. Here's the items to do. But you have 100 customers on Saaslio. You don't have Adobe in your stack. You don't have Dropbox in your stack. You don't have whatever it might be in your stack. Here's the fastest growing things your customers are using. Do you think maybe you should scale up a team member? Do you think maybe you should get a partner agreement? Are you leaving money on the table in these software as a service platforms that you're not helping service or support? If you know that 60% of your customers use Creative Cloud because you're in an engineering or architecture group, have you considered how much monetary opportunity there is in managing Adobe and charging for Adobe and handling onboards and offboards? We give you those trends to evaluate holistically beyond the checkbox. And that's when you start to get strategic.
That's awesome. So you're doing stack alignment for the client and stack alignment for the MSP.
Yep, exactly.
So it's 2 levels down, which is nice. Okay. And then you're also giving suggested trends on, hey, this is what we see. That's this is the trending app. You should probably look into it. Because and I want to preface this by saying I don't think we're not suggesting they should buy more apps, of course, or other softwares, but every MSP is always looking for the gaps are and if they should add to or remove from. That's always the question. So this will be okay. So let's take it one step further. Then can they then at that point go and look at their existing stuff and see where it sits on that trend report, where it sits on the most used apps universally? Can they look at those internally themselves?
Yeah, of course. Every MSP has their own dashboard to run their own stack alignment in. We treat the MSP from 2 views: one as a client, one as a partner. They're managing themselves as they should be. And, honestly, that's where the shadow IT rears its ugly head. If you're an MSP, it's actually interesting to do a self-review. We find a lot of shadow IT in an internal client environment. So yeah, Sean, beyond that, there's also application duplicity. So if you are an MSP and you're deploying OneDrive, how many customers are using Dropbox and Box and all these other tools that you can migrate them into the OneDrive or SharePoint? So there's a lot of insights and reports. It's kind of what happens when you get locked up in COVID and you build a lot of functionality for your clients. And, we're happy to be able to say yes to the majority of the questions you're asking because we're a passion project for all 3 of, the core founders that started this business.
That's awesome. So where are the founders?
So the other founders, Ben and Alex, working, man. I have Alex is deploy and working on that VCIO community rollout. Ben's out working with a partner right now, doing a training and an onboarding this moment. But we all 3 have been partners basically in business for as long as I can remember. We've worked 13 years together. We rose the ranks through tier 1 knock together. We split our different ways. One became a senior software architect. The other became a head of product. And then here I am in the middle of anything and everything that I can be. But we all three are just super passionate about the problem. And it helps because we came from the world. We haven't just decided to build something that we want the MSPs to take and shovel out. Like, it's something that's built for the MSP. So all of us know the language. We all know the problems.
Awesome. And so while you were talking, I vaguely heard you say dashboarding. So within your tool, is there a dashboard for MSPs to review and look at? This? Okay.
Yeah, there's a dashboard for them, and it's a partner level hub, and then a client level view for each individual client.
It's multi-tenant?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's multi-tenant out of its base. Those individual client views, what's even better is you can group them with a technical account manager and say they have access to these accounts. But my favorite part of it is actually you can give your customer access to just their dashboard that inherits all their partner rules, workflows, insights, alerts, configuration. So if you're working with a really curious CIO at the tail end of a larger size company where it's maybe co-managed, you can give them access to that pane of glass, and they can do a lot of different things that you wouldn't take the time to do, such as loading contracts, loading permission sets for different users. There's just lots and lots of things that a customer can do in their own pane of glass too.
That's a great point, co-managed. So if I understand correctly, you just said that I could assign permissions to whoever my co-managed other counter half is, and they can track their companies, and you can segment based off of customers. So in my mind, and you can tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, I see here's Saaslio, of course, but here's the MSP partner, and the partner has one dashboard that he or she can segment that's already multi-tenant. So all your organizations, and then you can segment based off of here's account manager and tech team 1 and account manager tech team 2, 3, etc. And then at the last piece, co-managed counter half in the company and then you can assign permissions on the accounts and whatever else.
Yeah, that's why it was built that way. We knew that's how MSPs work.
That's amazing.
So one of the key things we actually do is assign a business owner at the end client, not business owner like you're thinking in your head, maybe the CEO, but whoever's your champion at the end client base. And there's lots of things you can do based off of that champion beyond give them access, which is maybe that champion needs to get an offboard report. When an employee leaves, maybe the MSP isn't managing that entire bundle, but can you imagine an offboard report from your MSP that was branded, had your content on it, went directly to your champion and said, here's the 60 apps that employee used or signed up for or put information into. Here's your checklist, not a task list of items, but a data-driven employee offboard list. You can send those into your PSA or send them to your customer, or both. But there's a lot of things that champion's role plays in the platform.
Awesome. Okay, so one other question I have then is, when you're working with the partners, how are you enabling them to succeed within using this tools, using you all, and communicating with clients? Because you mentioned before shadow IT and stuff. Not many dentists I know talk about shadow IT. Not many accountants are like, oh, that shadow IT stuff. No, they're not. So how are you prepping your partners to actually find success within you all?
Yeah, so every onboard journey is a 4-week or a 4-week initially, once a week touch point to do everything to onboard and get the technology configured. So we have a lot of time up front. We have 6 subsequent one-on-one sessions, and you have access to all the different webinars and online things that we're doing as well to get your knowledge. But even built into our partner hub, and I think this goes to tell you how MSP centric we are. You can literally upload your logo and your brand colors, and we will spit you out 50 to 60 different content pieces around shadow IT. So one pagers with your brand and your colors that look great to talk about cost or ops or security, or maybe you are talking to a dentist. You don't know this maybe, but the admin at the dentist office is likely very often using shadow IT because she's got business problems or he's got business problems that need solved that they're not going to bother the dentist with or the partner at the place. So we give you all the ammunition and training we have at our hands and disposals to help you.
Awesome. And I'm lying. I have another one. So this goes back to the portal and dashboard conversation. One of the big issues you have in this space is MSPs have to go to too many places to do their job. So do you have an ability to be built into ConnectWise, for instance, at the level where it is, where they can just manage right through there and see the reports? Now they might have to do a drill down, but I'm curious if there's a single pane that we have here in existence that keeps them in one area to work from.
Yeah, Sean, I think that's a lot of why we're here today with PitchIT, right? We want to build a deeper component into manage. I'm familiar with the pane of glass embedding piece that you're talking about, and it's on the roadmap to be part of the journey. So, that's why we like manage and ConnectWise, because it's easy to embed in and it's easy to be part of that operational component. So, though it may not exist today, it is on a very near-term roadmap as we navigate PitchIT. We'll be continuing to level up what we can do for ConnectWise.
Awesome. Sorry, Adam, I'm taking your call.
Yeah. So Sean, you took the question right out of me. So, what are kind of the goals, of, sounds like that's kind of a roadmap is, winning PitchIT, getting some of that funding, because I know software is very expensive to go invest in, hire developers right now. Yeah. So, what are your goals with this software? What do you hope to get out of it?
Yeah, if I could just put a goal out there and aim it forward, it really is to help every MSP, whether they use Saaslio or not. I say this every time, by the way, whether they use Saaslio or not. It's going to be other competitors that brew up in this ecosystem, but help every MSP talk, manage, discover, secure their customers' software as a service ecosystems. That is the mission that we wake up to do. The fact that we could say yes so many times today was because over the last 2.5 years, we've had to say no. And we want to be able to help arm the MSP with everything they need. And so as I look at the vision of Saaslio, it's really to continue to combat the evolution of what SaaS means for their customer. If the economy tightens up, it's going to be coaching MSPs how to do license management for expensive software. If it's security continues to become a bigger concern or we see new entry points, we'll coach them on that. I mean, if every MSP at a minimum had a tool or an offering or a plan or a strategy around how SaaS can impact their practice over the next few years, and Saaslio gets to be part of the education around it, then that's my mission. I just want to help MSPs know the opportunity, because it's a blue ocean opportunity to talk about this kind of stuff with your customer. And it's something that I know changes the dialogue. I've already seen it with a lot of our partners and their success. So I just want to be able to educate and help them get to that goal.
Nice. So can you tell me a little fun fact about you? Like,
we saw it on the slide.
I heard like something about a race car or something. Give me a fun fact.
Yeah, Adam, I'm not all boring and shadow IT speak. At least I don't believe so. We can have my fiance say otherwise, maybe. But a fun fact about me, Adam, I don't know. I'm in the month of May in Indy. We're tailing it up. That was out at the 500 getting sun for Orlando. But last week got to go head on 180 miles an hour into a wall. Which you never would anticipate wanting to do. I did not hit the wall, but it looks a lot like it when you're going 180 miles in the Noble. And got to go breakneck speeds, hit multiple Gs. And I was one person away from riding around with Andretti himself, the legend. And so I was not, you can't be disappointed being in a ride along. Chavez, I felt safe with you. But
that's amazing. I'm just wondering, you're trying to win this competition that's from, my area, why I wasn't invited to the ride. Like, I don't know. Adam, what would you do in that situation? What would you be doing?
Good. I don't know. I would, if you want to win a competition, bring somebody to drive with you.
I don't think we're willing to make the 2-seater or 3-seater, Sean. I just don't know about all those details, but I will say you're always welcome in Indy for an Indy 500. I've been here, grew up in the city of Speedway, so this was the 15th year I've done it.
That's awesome. So, I will take you up on the offer next year. I am coming next year. Adam's coming too. He said he can't wait.
We have a guest space for people to come on in for the Indy 500, and it's waiting with your name on it, Sean and Adam. You're more than welcome.
John, I really appreciate your time. Sean, really appreciate your time. But final question is, if I want to look demo or get some more information, just check out your website or what?
Yeah, go to our website. We're just like every SaaS tool too, right? Go online, sign up, request a time. I'm happy to take 30 minutes of my time to chat directly, especially coming from PitchIT. Just put that in your memo, and I'll make sure that I take the time directly to work with you. But 30 minutes, or go online and sign up for a free trial. Click on the top right and request a free 30-day proof of concept within your MSP. We'll guide you through the experience, whether you're a 5-person shop, a 500-person shop, servicing 5 employees or 5,000. We treat every MSP the same, so we hope that you get the opportunity to check out a trial with us.
Awesome. Appreciate it, John. Thank you very much for your time. Really thrilled to see the software and come to fruition, and wish you luck in the PitchIT contest, if you will. Sean, any closing thoughts before we take off here?
The only thing I ask is that everybody that watches this and watches later on, be intimately involved with this and figure out. I mean, we're counting on the MSPs to share their voice. That's the only way people like John and any other vendors can even improve, and how ConnectWise can even improve. It's a very codependent relationship for this whole thing to work. So, we ask that you guys do give your insight, your input on what you're seeing with people like John when they talk, and make it relevant. Ask the questions so we can come back to you, and just stay following us. Keep following the PitchIT series, because we'll be back again on Thursday with somebody else. So, and it'll be exciting. Then we'll go through this whole thing, and we'll see. And by the way, I know that all the contestants are actually watching, John. So to see what they have to do to beat you, and you're the first. So I thank you for being the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, you set the bar high, man. Definitely, for those that are watching live, if you have questions, if you have things like that, John, you'll be inside our Facebook group, ConnectWise Boss, answering some questions in there. I'll tag you if I see anything that might be relevant to you, to kind of your organization. And yeah, any closing thoughts, John?
No, Sean. No, Adam. Sorry.
We look alike.
Yeah, it's the strikingly good looks, I suppose, that I got confused there.
Yeah, you're getting better. You're learning quickly.
Yeah. No, but thank you. I think the one thing I would say as a departing note is tell us why I'm wrong today, please. I'm from the Midwest. So I always like to joke. I can get my backpack anytime I want. People will say, yes, you're doing great. But I'm in PitchIT to figure out exactly what the MSPs want and how they want to manage SaaS and how they want to talk about it. So tell me why I'm wrong today. I would love that more than anything else. So help us build something that's great for you, good for your practice, and more importantly, the whole community.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live and just to discuss these contestants, and it's amazing kind of what's happening in the industry. And so check us out, cwboss.com, join that community. And you also see us on YouTube and LinkedIn. So want to definitely continue the conversation, ask those tough questions, and have our contestants really challenged and really grow their own organization to bring more incredible software to the industry that integrates in with ConnectWise. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time, and see it on Thursday around noonish, I believe, Sean. So specific time.
Noonish your time. Let's be very clear. 3 Eastern.
Yeah. Eastern.
12 Pacific. Not everybody just, it's not Adam and
it's the Adam in the world.
Yeah, California, here we are. No, it's the whole rest of the country exists. Time zone.
Right. Thank you, guys. See you later. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.